Okay, all right. Welcome back to another one. So, this is a continuation of the course in the key of F. Like I've always said before, everything I'm going to be teaching in this course, I have taught already in the key of C. I've taught already in the key of C sharp, in the key of F sharp. So, for those of you that are in this particular key, in the key of F, so this is for you. And like I've said before, we are majorly learning theory. When the time for application come, I'm going to explain the applications using songs that you understand. But there is need for me to first of all explain these theories to you before we start applying, so that when we start applying, I can always refer and make mention of things like this, and you would remember. So that is the importance of this class. So this one is going to be titled altered chords. So you might have been hearing about altered chords and they throw you off balance. You don't know what they mean. So this is in the key of F. So as you can see, this is showing us F F sharp 11. That's an F major chord, but the 11th is sharp and it has a 13. So chords like this are altered chords. This is a C, same thing. So I could play something like this. These are all altered chords. All right. So from what I have here, an altered chord is a type of dominant 7 chord. Take note of that. An altered chord is a type of dominant 7 chord. Altered chords are they are about creating tension, sounds that are not balanced at all. Altered chords they are about creating tension and releasing those tensions. So if I'm in the key of F and I have a progression like a 2 5 1, so obviously in any key you're playing on, your 2, you can decide to create some tension. 2, you want to go to the 5, that takes you back to the 1. So on the 5, which is the dominant chord, remember the place of your 5 in any key you're playing on is always going to be a dominant chord, right? So on the 5, we can choose, and like I said at the beginning, I said an altered chord is a type of dominant chord, right? A type of dominant chord, and your 5 chord in whatever key you play on, majority of the time, theoretically speaking, or yes, it's going to be a dominant 7 chord. As you can see on the screen, that's a C7. It's a dominant chord, a dominant 7 chord. So it is this chord that we can alter. All right, so I have a 2 5 1. So I could play the 2 as a 2, but that 5, I could decide to alter these chords. What do? I could decide to add this note. This will be the, you see, that's the flat 13th, right? That's a C flat 13th. You see, it has this tension. So I could tell myself this is the chord I want to use for the particular song that I'm trying to write. So I will now look for the melody of my song. This is the chord I'm using, right? So take notes. Okay, let me see. Let me remove the 5. Okay, let's leave the 5 there. So this is the chord we want to use. So I have a song like happy birthday, happy birthday, happy 2 5 1. So again, happy 1 chord, happy 4 chord, happy 2. I cannot use this chord. Day to you. So in order to make that chord sound out of the box, in order to make that chord sound very, very nice, then I can start what we call chord voicing. I can decide to voice that chord and add the melody of the song I'm trying to play to the chord. So again, happy birthday, 1 chord to the 4 chord, 2. So this is happy birthday, happy. Yeah. So you see, happy birthday to. So for this chord, I need 2. So what I could do is I will take away this highest note, this C. I'll leave this there because that's the melody. So happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to. You see? So let's add that other chord to. You see? To you. I could do two. I could decide to remove the. I could decide to make it the rootless chord by removing the root, which is the C. Two. You see? Two. It's sounding out of the box already. Two, I could decide to take a, okay, what can we take away here? Let's see. Two, it's fine like this. Two, I could decide to approach it like out to you. So this is how musicians come up with different chord, tone, color that makes you like the way they play. Like I said, we are still going to apply some of those things in later on in the course. We're going to break down songs. You see how they apply. Then you can also learn how you in your own private practice time can also utilize them in your play. So now let's move on. So I said yeah, I said altered chords are they're about creating tension and releasing those tension. E.g., the G7, okay, no, the C7 here doesn't sound resolved. This is the C7. It doesn't sound resolved. It has some tension, and it really wants to go somewhere. So a dominant seven chord creates a dissonant sound that wants to resolve. All right. So this is something you should know. And when we are altering a chord, the chord has to already be a seventh chord and be a major seven chord, a minor seven chord, a dominant seven chord. We have different kinds of seven chords, which I'm also going to treat in this course. So now different styles of music uses chords differently, which is why we usually say some styles we usually see some styles in music as boring. Yeah, there are some styles you maybe you've been listening to a 1 4 6 5. To some persons this progression is very boring. Some persons like 1 4, then 6, then 5. So some persons like this busyness in their play, and this is what gospel music majority of the time has to offer compared to other genres like pop, like Afrobeat. Afrobeats like I had one other of my channel where I was teaching secular chords. I've not been there for a while. So I explained to those guys in that my channel, I said secular songs are the easiest to play. Why? Because they just pick few chords. They pick like 3 chords and sometimes 2 chords, even R&B, 2 chords, and the song is already playing and making sense. So what makes those songs stand out is the instrumentation, the beats, the percussions, and every other thing they add to the song. Those are the things that makes those songs stand out. All right. So to you, some genres might sound boring. Some persons do not like classical songs. Some persons do not like gospel songs. Some persons like jazz chords, and jazz chords they majorly make use of dominant seven chords. All right. Okay. Um. So yeah, I said if you should ask 5 musicians to play the hymn "Amazing Grace," you will find out that they would interpret it differently based on the type of style they play. All right. So we have styles like CCM, we have styles like jazz, we have gospel, we have Afro, secular, pianist. We have different kinds of guys out there. All right. So what are altered chords? So a proper definition: they are dominant seven chords with chromatic extensions. It's going to be shown on the screen. So extensions are they are extra chord tones we add to our basic chord. So I could decide to play an F major and add a seven chord. This is a major, a dominant seven. I could decide to add a nine. I could decide to add a this is the 13th. I could decide to sharp the five. This is the five. Okay, no, let me not do that because it's going to cause a lot of chaos here. But so all this I'm doing is me just trying to extend the chords, and the more you extend the chords, the more feelings or you add to these chords. Dark feelings, bright feelings, mention them because all of these chords have their different kinds of quality. Okay, so for example, our let's see, yeah, just give us an example. We can extend an F major to a major seventh. You can extend it to let's say an 11th. You can extend it to a 13th. You see it is still the same chord. It's going to give you a different feel. I can even make it a major 7. See F major 7 13th chord. You see, so the more you extend the more you get good sound from um your chord. All right, like I said, this is more it's going to be more of theory, not application. When it's time to apply, we are going to apply. So an authored chord uses chromatic extensions. Don't forget that. Now these are notes that are half steps and semitone away from our diatonic extensions. So example, let's say we pick F. So let's say we pick an F major or a dominant chord, an F7. So here we could decide to sharp the, as you can see, it's showing an F major 9. So that 9, I could put it here. I could decide to sharp it. See? I could decide to even flat it. You see, all these are all different ways to play altered chords. So when we start applying, um, I think I've explained extended chords to us, but when we start applying, you understand where these chords are coming from. All right. Okay, there's something that I need to bring to our notice. Let's do some extension here and alter some of these chords. So this is an F major, an F7. So let's say I wanted to play an F9 and I wanted to alter the 5 chord. This is the 5, sorry, the 5 note there. I wanted to sharp it. So if I sharp it, you see, I'm going to get an F augmented 9. Let's bring it here. This is a voicing. This is an altered chord. So whenever you play a dominant, you add the 9, you add the 11s, you add the 13. After you've already gotten, these are all the extensions you can get. This is a dominant. I'm using a dominant chord. I could drop this and I'll get a major, but this is a dominant, you see. So these are all the levels you could extend this chord. There is no 12, there is no 14. There is the major 7 itself. There is the 9, there is the 11, and there is the 13. You see. Now there is also the flat 9. This is the 9. I can flat it. You see, it says flat 9. There's the sharp 5. This is the 5. I'll sharp it. So it's showing F augmented 13. And you know that augmented, I've taught augmented chords too. When you augment, it means you're kind of adding, like augment, like addition. All right. So this is an augmented chord. So you can always flat or sharp the 5th. You can always flat or sharp the 9th. All right. So now that we now have an idea about what altered chords are, so the question now is, how do we use altered chords? Okay, so when you are going to a major chord, in the 251 lesson, I taught us that I explained the concept behind 251 chords. So when you're using a 251 chord, you are either going to a major chord or to a minor chord. So in this case, let's say you're going to a major chord. Just ended the song. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. I'm going to the 6th chord. Like me, you go to the 5 chord, to the 1 chord, to the 3 chord, to the 4 chord, to the 1 chord, to the 6 chord, to the 2 5 1. So that's 2 5 1 5 1. So this 2 5 1, which is taking you back to your 1 chord, which is a major chord, diatonically in this key. So that 5, which is the dominant chord, you can choose to alter the chord. All right. So I could choose to play something else, which was the very example I gave us the first time. I could choose to play something else on this chord to take me to the 1. So we can always play this chord as an altered chord, this 5 chord. Now you will not hear people asking you to use this chord because it is usually used on the discretion of the player, right? It is only when you are playing in a band that is musically sound and theoretically sound, and they can tell you, they can write out the chords and tell you this is what they want. But on the norms, if you are playing, you might never even think about using the chord, depending on the level that you're operating from. So majority of the time, it is used on the discretion of the player. All right. So it can also be used in a minor 251. So let's say we are going to a 6 chord here. So a minor 251 to the 6 is this. So your 7, you could make your 7 a minor chord or a minor 7 flat 5, which is a half diminished chord. 2, then 5. You can make your 5 and a dominant chord. Mind you, I said 251 because by now you should have gone through the 251 lesson in the key of F, right? I'm not playing as if I'm in the key of F right now. My destination is D, which is the 6 of F. So in the scale of D is a minor chord that I'm going to in the key of F, right? So I could decide to form the minor scale of D. La ti do re mi fa sol la. See, the 2 of this scale is this, the 5 is this, the 1 is this. That's why I said 2, 5, 1. So on that 2, I could decide to play a minor chord. Alright? Then on the 5, I play a dominant chord. This is also an altered chord. This is an A7 flat 9. It's an altered chord. An A dominant chord is supposed to just sound like this, but I'm altering it. Really? But I'm altering it. Then it takes me to the 6. So when I play 3, 7, 3, 6. This 7, I could leave it like that, but that 3, I could decide to alter it, which is what I just did. It's supposed to be a dominant chord, but I've altered it, and I've flattened the 9 of that chord. So I know this might really be confusing, right? But like I told you before, as long as you want to learn to play on one key and you want to understand from one key, the thing is that key you are trying to learn is not isolated to other keys. You have to know that other keys around the key you are playing on, they have input on what you're going to be playing. So I just played an A7 flat 9 chord. So the moment I play any chord, I assume I am in that key. So for an A7, it sounds like this. The 9 of A7 is this note here. How did I know that was the 9? I just formed the major scale of A, and this is my, okay, like I said, this is an intermediate class, so you should know why this is a 9 in that scale. Because when we start doing, when we treat extended chords, I'm going back to the beginner's lesson now. So when we treat extended chords, you know that the moment you pass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the moment you add a 7th to your scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, that's the 7. The moment you cross, this becomes, let's see, this becomes the, let me see, this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then back to 1. This becomes your 9. Why? Because there's already a 7. This is your normal A major chord. When you add that 7th, major 7, this becomes your 9. Then this will become your 11. Then this will become your let's see, this will become your 13. So alright, you understand more of what I'm trying to explain here when you have gone through the extended chords. I think the extended chord should come before this. Alright, I know you eagerly want to play in the key of F, but fine, if you don't want all of this theory, you can skip this lesson and go to the interesting part where I start breaking down songs. But these are some of the theories you will need to keep you going in future. Alright, okay, moving on. So where were we? 736. So we are here. I was trying to explain how I got here. I don't know if I confused you. I'm not confused though. Okay, so that's a 736 chord. So that 3, I could decide to make it an altered chord, which is what I just did. It's supposed to be a dominant chord like this, but I flat the 9, and that's how I got that result. And it sounds sweet. Don't you like it? So you're playing Jesus, you love me too much, your 4 chord. You're going to a 6 chord, too much, 6 to the 5 chord. So in order to get to that 6 chord, you could decide to use a passing chord, which is your 736 in the key of F. So 1, Jesus, you love me too, to the 4 chord. I play my 7, then my 3, 6 to take me to the 6. It sounds interesting. This is where those passing chords come from. Though I have not done anything at all to make that chord sound out of the box. I'm just using it the way it is. All right. Okay. So let's take another example. So let's say we have another example. A 2. Your 2 is always going to be a minor chord. Then we have a let's see. By using this chord, a C7 flat 9. Let's say we have this kind of a chord. Or let's just say we had a 2, 5, 1. So we can use this chord at our own discretion. You can decide to initiate the altered chord. So you can decide to alter the chord. You want to sound dirty, like especially those of you that don't like people to see what you play. So you could use rootless voices and you will lose whoever is looking at you. So for the 5 chord, I could decide to alter the chord. What am I going to do to this chord now? Okay, let's add that to the chord. And let's remove the roots. So I could do, imagine, this is my 5 chord. It's a dominant chord, but I've altered the chord and it gave me, could even add that to the chord as my 5 chord. So where do I apply this? So I have Jesus, you love me too much to the 4 chord, too much to the 6 chord, to the 6 chord. I can now play 2 to the 5 chord. You see, it's a 5 chord, right? It's something out of the box, right? So what do I do to make this chord pronounced, to make people not get lost and know what I'm playing? Because it says love, oh, this is the melody I need. It says love, oh, so I could take that. I already have this here, so I'll just remove that. This, right? This is the chord I was playing. I have this in 2 places. I'll remove this. My melody is this. Let's take it here. Sounding nice. So this is like me opening up the chord. Then for this, I could put it here. I could use it like this. So let's see if I remember that. I do. So again, Jesus love me too much. 4 chord, too much to the 6 chord, too much to the 2. I'm going to the 5. So too much. Oh, your basis will be there to add that bass note for you. So at the end of the day, you have a C augmented 7, which is an altered chord. So the melody is still ringing out of your song, and you could decide to voice it differently because this note is already somewhere here. You could bring your melody here. You could do too much your essence love. Oh, let's see. You see? Oh, then you back to the just you love me too much. Oh. 7, 3. So, like I said, this lesson is theory, not more of application. So this is what I think the aim of this lesson is actually to confuse you, to also let you know that there is a chord called altered chords. All right. So when we start using it, I will tell you why this chord is altered. It is because the sharp, the second, or the flat the second, or it has a sharp 5 or flat 5. So when you start hearing names like that, these are the kind of chords we call altered chords. All right. Like I said, so you can use these chords at your own discretion. So you can also start trying some of this chord in whatever you have, or whatever you have playing, or whatever you have going on already. So any place you have a dominant 7 chord, so you could tell yourself, I have a dominant, majority of the time it's going to be on your 5 chord. So I have a dominant 7 chord. I can flat the first. Before you flat, you need to add first. So I could add the 9, the 11, the 13. Then I could decide to sharp the 11. You see, I could decide to sharp. Let's see, where's the 13th? Okay, flat 13. Okay, I decide to, you see, add all this tension to the chord. So when you learn extended chords, you understand how this is a basic triad. You add the 7th, you add the 11th, the 9th, the 11th, the 11th, the 13th, and any other thing you're going to do to this chord is going to be considered alteration. That's an altered chord. So if you're flattening this, it's an altered chord. If you're sharpening this, it's an altered chord. If you're flattening this, it's an altered chord. And yeah, that is it. All right. So okay. All right. So take this as an introduction to altered chords. This is me just showing you the things that you can see as altered chords, bringing it to your notice. There will be other lessons to clear the air more for you. All right.